In today's Warzone 2 video, we're taking a look at the top 5 best setups here after the update. This includes all the patch notes and making sure we take all the buffs and nerfs into consideration when making these new meta setups. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe with notifications turned on, and let's hop into this. All right, first gun we're taking a look at here today is going to be the Lockman sub. This is a new and updated setup for it. This is going to be what everyone's going to be using right now since the Fennec 45 got nerfed, the RPK got nerfed. So we have, thankfully, some new meta weapons to be able to use, and this is going to hopefully be the #1 gun right here. So let's hop into the setup. Here's my general base overview of these attachments here for the Lockman sub. Now let's actually get into everything, and I'll explain a few things that are a little bit more interesting on it here since the update actually did come out. So first thing on here is going to be the XRK Sandstorm. This is going to help that vertical recoil control because, you know, the Lockman likes to move around, so we definitely have to stabilize it out. That's going to be hugely beneficial. We switched over from the FTAC Castle Com over to the XRK Sandstorm, and this actually works out very, very nicely. After that, the tune on this is actually going to be a -0.31, a +0.25. We're not going to be using a barrel on this thing anymore. We're actually going to VLK Laser 7MW for our next attachment. That increase in ADS speed, aiming stability, and of course spring to fire speed. This is a fantastic attachment. I've been running this so often on a variety of my different builds, ARs, SMGs. This is just a top tier attachment. Also, there's added tuning here on the lasers here with the update, so we can actually tune the lasers now, which is pretty cool. So this is a -0.37 and -0.19.74. So that's actually kind of how this works. They, for whatever reason, decided to add tuning to the lasers, so that's available now on all weapons. Now let's move on down here to the magazine section to go for that 40 round mag here. You guys can definitely run the 40 round mag. I would not really recommend the 50 round drum because it's going to slow you down a little bit too much. This is a pretty agile build here that you're going to be able to use in close quarters, and especially on Ashika Island, this is going to be like top tier. After that, we're gonna move here to the rear grip section, throwing the Lockman TCG-10 for that increase in recoil control. Because we're not running a barrel here to help out with any of that recoil, we definitely got to, you know, stabilize it out here with the Lockman TCG, or for that matter, an underbarrel. So this is going to be a pretty beneficial thing to be able to run. The tune on this here is going to be a +0.65 and a -0.20. And then for our last attachment here, we actually have the LM stockless mod for ADS speed, sprint to fire speed, movement speed, and of course hip recoil control. All really great things here to make this a top tier close quarters SMG. And because this is the stockless mod, we do not have the ability to be able to tune it. So this is my full build here for the Lockman sub. For our next gun here today, we're taking a look at the TAC 56. So this is a gun that kind of got brushed aside here in Al Mazrah just because of, you know, the TAC V, the RPK. They pretty much just came out as like, you know, the top tier meta contenders out there, or just like the absolute meta. And this was a really solid gun, very little recoil. So this is actually going to be, you know, once again taking a top tier meta slot up here in Warzone, and of course on Ashika Island. So let's hop into the setup for it. So here's my general base overview of this. You guys notice the Orion camo, the polyatomic camo, all the masteries look a little bit more vibrant. I think it's actually cool. They also sped up the polyatomic and the Orion, so that's actually pretty nice. They finally look decent where they should have, you know, upon release. But first attachment here, we're just going to get into this, the Echoless 80. This is going to give us that sound suppression, full velocity damage range, and recoil smoothness. All great things here to be able to have on this gun to really stabilize it out. The tune on this is going to be a +1.08 and then a +0.45. So there's that. Now let's move up in here to the barrel section. We got the 17.5 Tundra Pro barrel. This is going to give us a pretty big increase to our damage range, hip fire accuracy, and bullet velocity. This is a pretty solid barrel to be able to run on this thing, and I really enjoy using it. Makes this gun a lot more effective in my opinion. The tune on this is going to be a +0.27 and a +0.12, so give it a shot. Moving on down here, we got the underbarrel section for the FTAC Grouper 56. Aiming idle stability, fire accuracy, and recoil stabilization. This is just such a great, you know, underbarrel to be able to run. I love this, the phase 3 grip. You know, between those two, it's just, you really can't go that wrong no matter like what gun you actually put them on. The tune on this is gonna be a +0.54 and a +0.17. Now let's actually move on down here to the magazine. Got to throw on that 60 round mag because 30 rounds on this is just clearly not enough. 40 rounds even in Warzone is really not going to be all that good. So I definitely say 60 rounds because this is your primary long range AR. You know, be able to have those extra rounds, be able to put down range. Also, considering this thing has very little recoil, you're going to be able to actually hit those shots. So it's definitely, you know, wise to be able to have 60 rounds in your mag. And for our last attachment, we're gonna go up here for the AIM Op V4. This is just an amazing sight to be able to run on Warzone 2. I mean, it's super clear. You can really see just about whatever you need. And I mean, it's not going to be too much of a magnification to the point where you can't use it at those like closer to medium-ish ranges if you kind of get caught off guard, you know, caught pants down. So there's that. Also, the tune on this thing here is going to be -1.55 and -1.65. So that is how I have this thing tuned. So that's my full build there for the TAC 56. Give it a shot. For our third gun here in this top 5, we're going to be taking a look at the Socken MG38. Pretty much a gun that I don't think a lot of people are expecting to be able to become meta, but between this, the Lockman sub, This could be kind of like your overkill meta setup because, you know, people obviously are moving away from the RPK since it got a pretty sizable nerf. We will not be covering that gun here in today's top 5, which is a good thing. I'm really not looking forward to talking about the RPK or seeing the Fennec really, you know, as much anymore. But the Socket MG38 is going to be a #1 LMG to use. So here's my general overview here for all my attachments on this. Now we'll actually get into everything and show you why we are using it, but let's actually get into it. So first thing, the ZLR Talon 5, sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness. You know, obviously we've got to stabilize the gun out here and make it more effective at range. This is a super, you know, obviously, you know, medium long range option. It's not going to be super mobile, much like TAC 56 would be more mobile than this, but this is going to be like, you know, pretty much like your RPK equivalent, you know what I'm saying? So you can put a lot of rounds down range. The tune on this is going to be a +0.59, a +0.58. After that, we're going to go up here to the barrel section. The 20 Bruin Silver Series barrel. That's quite the name for an attachment, but bullet velocity, damage range, recoil control, and hip fire accuracy. I mean, this is just an absolute tank of a barrel. This can make you super effective at those longer ranges. The tune on this is going to be a +0.34 and a +0.26, so give it a shot. Now we're actually going to go down here to the underbarrel section on the Cronin WL55. So this is going to give you that aiming idle stability, aim walking steadiness, and recoil steadiness. So recoil steadiness, Dustin, meaning that it's going to help stabilize the gun out, like, you know, it's going to lower the recoil of it. For whatever reason, some say recoil steadiness, some say recoil control, but it's large in part, roughly about the same thing. So that's why we're running this. The tune on this gun is going to be, or at least this attachment is going to be a +0.59 and a +0.18. Now we're going to go up in here to the laser section, the FSS OLE-V laser, ADS speed, aiming stability, and of course sprint to fire speed. Great attachment, like I said in like a ton of my previous videos, for just pretty much about any gun. Also, you can tune these now. If you guys will skip through the video at any point, you can tune the lasers. So this can be a -0.19 and a -16.45. So that's how we have that laser tuned. And then for our final attachment, we have the Aim Op V4. It's just, you know, obviously a great sight. People have run this here before patch. People will be running it after patch. And I definitely recommend, especially on like an LMG, maybe like on a TAC 56, you could get away with running the iron sights, maybe on like a Sheikah Island, but definitely not for the LMG. But, you know, for the tune on this is going to be a -1.55 and a -1.65. So that's my full build there, full tunes. The Socket MG38. For our fourth gun here today, we're going to be taking a look at the Vaznev 9K. This is another great close-ish range option for that, like that sniper sport role / close range. You guys are really going to love this thing, and it'll just only be better here after the update here in Season 2. So here's my general base overview of my attachments here on the Vaznev 9K, and now let's actually get into this. First thing is going to be the X10RR40, sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness. Just got to stabilize the gun out here. I mean, that's what we're trying to do because this is your close range / sniper support, so definitely got to make sure it's actually good for those ranges. The tune on this is gonna be a +0.45 and a +0.35. After that, we're gonna go up in here to the barrel section and run the CAS-1 381mm barrel. That damage range increase, hip fire accuracy, and bullet velocity, all great things here to be able to have. The tune on this is gonna be a +0.32 and a +0.22. After that, we're going to go over here to the laser section. Once again, the FSS OLE. I don't really feel like I have to explain this one too much, but it's just a great attachment overall. I've said that a few times. The tune on this is going to be a -0.16 and -18.10. So there's that. And then now let's actually move on down here to the magazine for that 45 round mag. Got to increase it from the base 30 up to 45. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, obviously this is what your kind of like your last resort is, whether you're running a sniper, running an LMG, something like that. You got to have a close range option, and having a few extra rounds in the close range can be pretty big. And for our final attachment here, the Demo X2 grip, that increase in recoil control. I mean, listen, this gun's not gonna have too much recoil, but if you want to fully stabilize it out and make sure it's like a true sniper sport, then go for this. If you want it to be a little bit faster, I'd say go for the true TAC grip, and you guys can tune those accordingly. But the tune on this here is going to be a -0.61 and -0.10. So that's my full tune right there. That's my full build. Hope you guys enjoy this one. And for our final gun in this top 5, we're going to be taking a look at a try and true build here, the M4. So a lot of people liked running this here a little bit earlier on before that RPK Fennec kind of took over, but this is going to be a really solid gun here, especially on a Sheikah Island to be able to use because it's got, you know, pretty decent mobility. The fire rate's pretty solid. Also, it's got a great magazine size. Recoil is easy enough to control. So let's hop into a top tier build here for the M4. Here's my base sort of overview of all my attachments. Now let's actually get into it. First thing is going to be the Harbinger D20. Sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, recoil smoothness. Like I said, you know, for a lot of these attachments, gotta stabilize the gun out, make it better at range. This is your long range option, so we have to be able to stabilize it out. The tune on this is going to be a +0.90 and a +0.65 because, you know, the M4 is going to have some interesting recoil, so definitely have to, you know, kind of understand that. So we're trying to compensate for it. The next up is going to be the High Tower 20 barrel. bullet velocity, damage range, recoil control, hipfire accuracy. I mean, listen, you really can't go wrong here. The high tower barrel is going to be the best one you can probably choose in the entirety of this category, and I put in training on every single build here for the M4. The tune on this is going to be a plus 0.05 and a plus 0.04, so really ain't got to do too much on here to get a lot of benefit. This is one of those guns that if you only move it ever so slightly, you get a lot of benefit, but you start moving it more, it really starts negatively affecting the rest of the attachment, and we just don't want to do that. Next up, we're gonna go down here to the F-Tac Ripper 56, one of my favorite underbarrels to run. You guys kind of know the drill with this one, ain't gonna explain it, so we got that. The tune on this is gonna be a plus 0.54 and a plus 0.17, so that's how we're rocking it. And then we're gonna go down here, gotta increase that base magazine size. 40 rounds, I just don't believe, or 45 rounds, my bad, I just don't believe is enough. Gotta go for that 60. 60, you know, is what it is. I'm a 60 round mag kind of guy, haven't been able to say that in a while. For those of you guys that have been around the channel for a minute, you guys know what I'm talking about, but a 60 round mag just works out nicely here in Warzone. And then for our final attachment, we got the Aim Op V4. Once again, I mean, we just can't, you know, ever switch this thing out. I mean, it's just so unbelievably good. We love using this sight, and I would recommend it. The tune on this is going to be negative 1.16 and negative 1.65. So that's my full build there. All my tunes. If you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and also check out one of these other videos here on screen. Just turn on Triple Captain, be Randy, and I'm out. Peace.